Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Rob Thomson. I'm calling you all out today. Eagles. Second stringers looked damn good against the Browns. Overreaction Monday right here on DSM Media and Trending the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front. And Philadelphia has it.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media, live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow, all that great stuff you could do to help us out there. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Hit a comment in the comment section. It helps build the algorithm and rhythm up. Helps us figure out how to get this up on the charts on YouTube. We greatly appreciate that and all the support. It's also the best place to get involved with the show on YouTube there. I am Phil Seifert, your host. We got Jason Voorhees sitting next to me. Down below, we got Mark Witta C. Good morning, gentlemen. And I hope you're ready because I got a lot of overreactions this morning.
Love it. Bring it.
Good morning. Let's do it.
These guys, come on. Always. Monday mornings are always so great. You know, you guys are always like, yeah, okay.
Dude, I didn't get home till like midnight last night. Give me a break, brother.
Caffeine in your system early on.
I was sitting on the beach all day.
I know.
Some pizza makes you tired.
I'm surprised you're awake this morning.
What's that?
Mark was getting sunburned.
Yeah, I got a little color. Yeah,
Mark, I got to ask you, Mark, real quick.
Yeah.
Mark, how do you not listen to music on the beach?
I don't like music. I'm not a huge music guy.
What kind of person are you that you don't like music?
Well, here's the thing. You go on the beach, you got a guy here with his speaker, you got a girl there with her speaker, and you got somebody behind you with another speaker. You're hearing like
Earbuds.
all kinds of different music. It's just, you don't have to.
He shared a picture on Facebook. He
had the buds on. I was listening to Bill Burr podcast, and Phil said I was lame.
Bogus.
Phil said you were lame for listening to a podcast?
Yes, on the
beach.
Well, what if it was trending? Then Phil would be okay.
Oh, yeah. You know, what if it was a DSM podcast?
Phil would be okay with that.
I don't know. When you're sitting on the beach, guys, you need island music. Get the vibe going. You got the ocean, your toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in the world.
I'm with Mark. If I'm on the beach, I can't listen to music. To me, music is for the car.
Thank you. You may be a stinking Mets fan, but at least you agree with me on that one, Aaron.
I sleep on the beach. I'll just lay on the beach because I don't like the water at all. I don't listen. Fun fact: I don't know how to swim. So I
me too. I don't either.
And yesterday the waves were kind of rough. I only went in about like knee deep, and then the water smelled real fishy. So I was like, no way, dude. I'm not going in. Let me just sit on my chair and let me just veg out for a couple.
I like to take my chair, put it right on the edge of the water so the waves crash my feet, have my music on, little island vibes and all, and just soak up the atmosphere.
Yeah, I can't agree with you guys on that because I know how to swim. So
yeah, I have never learned how to swim. I worked on a cruise ship.
People in the same room that don't know how to swim.
You got to remember, Mark, I don't know about you, but I was responsible for people's safety on cruise ships, and I did not know how to swim.
I'm telling you, like you would survive. It's doggy paddle. Like it's like a natural instinct.
There's a lot of lead in my body, metal leg, metal eye. I got lots of metal. I just go right down.
Listen. I have very limited skills to swim, Jason. To your point,
it's a natural instinct.
I was exposed to it early enough for me to learn. So, I'm not like throw me in the water, I will die.
There are 5 stifle kids. None of us know how to swim. My sister knows how to like doggy paddle a little bit. My dad was in the Coast Guards. He was an amazing swimmer in the Coast Guard. He could not teach us. We'd all just go boop, right on down. All right, yeah. That's enough of that junk. Enough of that. All right, let's start Eagles today, guys. Let's go Eagles, and then we'll go Phillies. We got overreactions on both. So first off, guys, I don't know. I know you were on the beach, Mark. I'm sure you kept up with the game. Maybe you saw some of the highlights. Jason, I don't know how much of it you watched yesterday. But first and foremost, overreaction statement number one, that first drive of the Eagles game was the we don't need no Kareem Hunt. We've got Boston Scott drive. So let's overreact to it a little bit. But on the other end of it, it's not an overreaction to really talk about. The Boston Scott is really not that bad of a running back. Like, he's really good for a small guy running between the tackles. He does a lot of things. He's a prototypical NFL running back in a small body running back, frame. And I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a running back he really can be. And I know, Jason, you're a big Kareem Hunt fan, wanting him on this team. But when you've got someone like Boston Scott, do you really need to trade assets? Like, it's probably going to take a third-round pick or something like that to get a Kareem Hunt, when you've got Boston Scott that can theoretically fill that big-bodied back just in a smaller frame.
Yeah, because I don't think it matters. I think the Eagles showed that they can use a committee and be successful with a committee. Just because you have just because you trade for Kareem Hunt doesn't mean you don't need Boston Scott. Like, to me, I think that was part of what made the Eagles running attack so good, is that they had multiple guys that could do it. Mm-hmm. The problem is right now, I don't have any faith in Miles Sanders. He's hurt every single year. And once again, here he is hurt again going into the preseason. Mm-hmm. So to me, I think the reason I like Kareem Hunt at the right price, let me preface that, I'm not trading a third-round pick, but I don't think it'll be a third-round pick. PFF has him ranked at a fifth-rounder at the least. You could probably – there was this actually came from Cleveland. It wasn't a Eagles beat reporter, but there was a report from a Cleveland reporter that it could possibly get done with Rager in like a fifth-round pick.
To me, that's probably –
I disagree. If you're going to get rid of Rager anyway – It solves that problem.
To me, that's not necessarily set in stone.
And to get a fifth-round pick, Phil, like I get it. I get it that it's an asset. But to me, you're getting a guy. I think people are devaluing Kareem Hunt by saying that. Like, it's almost like I think everyone's real reason that they don't want Kareem Hunt is the off-field issue. And that's fine if that's your issue. I'd rather people be honest about it. But
I've been pretty honest that that's – I've been pretty honest that that's number one.
Don't come to me and tell me that he doesn't help the team or make the team better.
Well, hold on a second, because I want to address it. And Mark, I'll get you in here in a second. If you're saying you want Kareem Hunt to replace Miles Sanders, I understand that. That's a better thing. The original theory 2-3 weeks ago was we needed to add Kareem Hunt to Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. And I'm trying. If you want to say, all right, you have no faith in Miles Sanders, you want to get rid of him, then that's fine. But if it's to add to the Miles Sanders, Boston Scott tandem and trio with Kenneth Gainwell, I think it's not worth bringing him in. Now, if you're going to say, all right, you're going to bring in Kareem Hunt, you're probably going to move on from Miles Sanders as well in a secondary move, and then you have a Hunt, Gainwell, Scott trio, then I'm okay with that. Because whatever you give up for Kareem Hunt, you might get some of that back in a secondary trade when you move Miles Sanders. So it's, yes, the off-the-field things with Kareem Hunt bother me. We've gone through it for 3 years now with the Odubel Herrera situation, with the same situation to an extent. But on the field itself, I don't see investing in running back when you have Miles Sanders, Hunt, and Gainwell and Scott. So, Mark, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
To be honest, Jason, I'm going back to what you're saying. Just be honest. Yeah, I don't want somebody of that type of character on the team at this point. On the field, yeah, he probably helps the team. Definitely helps the team. But I don't want to get in bed with him on this. Let him stay in Cleveland. And as for running backs, Howie's not going to give up any assets to trade for a Kareem Hunt. I mean, running back is an antiquated position in today's NFL football. I think they do need help. I think they'll find somebody at the end of camp, or sign somebody off a practice squad or something like that, where they can intermingle with the existing crew that they have. I am disappointed to hear again that Miles Sanders is hurt again. I think this is it for him. Don't be surprised if they can find somebody that maybe they dump Miles in a midseason trade because he's on his last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't be surprised if you see that. Also, you got to understand that they really invested in the assets of wide receiver this offseason. So I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more than they did last year. And that need for a Kareem Hunt or even a Miles Sanders is lessened if they're going to be throwing the ball more this year. So
I mean, we say we could just pick somebody up, and I really do believe that because there's going to be cuts. Maybe in theory, there's a scenario where Kareem Hunt just gets cut in the next, 2 weeks. I know it sounds kind of crazy to think, but if he's so unhappy in Cleveland and he wants out so badly, maybe he does just get cut. I don't know. I don't know if that's necessary. You bring up the we're going to be a pass happy team, Mark, and I think that's interesting because if you looked at yesterday's game, obviously very smart move by Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman. The field was soaking wet. It just was hurricane type rains in Cleveland over the weekend. None of the starters played yesterday. Smart move. No need to risk them in that situation yesterday after having 2 joint practices with the Browns earlier in the week. But that first drive, I believe there was 14 plays on the first drive. Boston Scott had like 10 carries. It was literally hand the ball off, and then have a screen pass to Boston Scott. Then hand the ball off to Boston, hand it off to Boston. I mean, I think he targeted a wide receiver once on that first drive. And it wasn't like they were just straight run plays. They were creative run plays with creative blocking schemes. Like they showed a lot on that drive. Now, was that to focus and show people, hey, we got Boston Scott. We don't need Kareem Hunt. Was that to show Cleveland like, you better lower your asking price because we don't need Kareem Hunt? Or was that maybe we're overreading how much they're going to pass the ball this year? And with this offensive line, we really are going to be, just like last year, a run-heavy team because our biggest asset is our offensive line. Why not run behind them?
I think they showed off their second string offensive line to show that they can be a first string elsewhere. And probably Andre Dillard was probably a showcase for other teams if he doesn't find a home here. They played really well, especially Cam Jurgens. They played really well. As for the running back, Boston Scott, I follow the dude on Instagram, and I saw some pictures of him. That dude is ripped. He don't have an ounce of fat on him. He's built like a fire plug. He is like what they had in Darren Sproles. I think that's what they want him to be, a Darren Sproles type running back. And let's be honest, he kills the Giants too. He definitely makes the team.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt there.
Yeah, but he's you can't give him 25 carries. He'll get buried. 8 to 10 carries a game. 8 to 10 times.
He had 11 on the first drive.
Well, but to your point though, like all the starters sat out, and and they did move that ball on the first drive, and looking at Minshew, I think he is going to be a spectacular second string quarterback. But if you got to rely on him for more than a game, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. You're going to be in a little bit of trouble. And Reed Stinnett, is that the guy's name, the third string guy? I'm not sure I'm sold on that guy. Other than that pass that he threw, which I thought was an overthrow to Devon Allen, and he just grab it. Yeah,
we'll get to that pass.
Not get hurt. So that's all.
I want to talk the back end wide receivers for a few minutes in a minute. But Jason, to that other point, showcasing the run game early in the game. Was that a taste of just what might come? I mean, I know George and a lot of people are going to say, no, we are going to pass a lot. But in theory, you would think you got the best run offensive line in football. Why wouldn't you run behind it a lot?
I mean, I've said this and I said it before. If they're smart, they won't go away from the run. If they know what's successful, they shouldn't just go to a pass-heavy offense. But I know that's what Jeff Lurie, I know that's what we know they want. But I also believe that, and I've talked about this on this show, I think Nick Sirianni has a little more power than we give him credit for right now at this point. I think he's starting to earn the trust of Howie Roseman and Jeff. And I think he has some say. And let's not be mistaken here. Yes, the Eagles added A.J. Brown. I think they will pass more than they did last year. But I don't think they're going to totally go away from the running game when they know that it's successful. And as I said, even if you were to get Kareem Hunt, you're going to need Boston Scott. You're going to need Kenny G, because that's what made it good, having the rotation to fill in and have different styles and different guys that could do different things. Kareem Hunt is actually spectacular out of the backfield catching passes, which I think is going to be a huge thing that Jalen Hurts – I want to see Jalen Hurts be able to do that, because we talked about the importance of him going through his progressions, hitting his reads, not going for the first read.
Right.
Having that check down option can be huge in games where you're struggling with that deep pass ball. And the running backs are key in that. Boston Scott does a good job at catching passes as well. So does Kenny Gainwell. It's good to have those kind of guys in this offense. It's not going to just be about ground and pound. It's what running backs can do besides the run. It's screen passes. It's flat passes. It's, kind of using them all over the field. I know, they've talked about, they said A.J. Brown, he could line up in the back. Like, there's so many things you could do with this offense. But to your point, I think it's probably a little bit of both. I think they're showing the league, yes, we're going to run the ball. We have the best offensive line in football. But I also think a lot of times in preseason, you're not going to show all your cards. So obviously they're not going to come out and
I think they showed some card, like their play design surprised me yesterday. Like, you were seeing a lot of pulling of guards and centers. You were seeing a lot of, not just straight, here's a crossing route, here's a straight run to the, behind the left tackle. You saw some actual creativity, which, if that's their vanilla game plan, imagine what their real game plan is, because of, you don't show everything in the preseason game. I want to talk wide receivers here a little bit. Obviously, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins, Pascal, they're your top four guys. Yesterday, if you watched the game, Allen obviously had the big catch. Big 55 yards. Mark says he caught up to an overthrow. Whatever.
I thought he did.
The guy's got blazing. How Quez Watkins thinks he's the fastest guy in the NFL when he's not even the fastest guy on his own team is crazy. And yes, as Michael Swope's saying here, Deon Cain. I keep wanting to say Dean Cain because I'm a Superman fan. I think it's Dean Cain. It's really Deon Cain. Deon Cain showed up. I saw some hands on that guy. There are some tough catches where he just stuck his hands out there. Boom, smothered that ball, caught it. You still got Britton Covey. In my mind right now, Greg Ward does not make this team. In my mind right now, Jonathan Hightower does not get requested back to the practice squad anymore. I think that final spot in the wide receivers on the team and the two practice squad spots are going to some combination of Allen, Covey, and Cain. All three of those guys will be part of this organization. Probably Covey on the team because of his special team skills, but Allen and Cain will be making this practice squad because they've shown enough. We know what Greg Ward is, and let's be honest, Jonathan Hightower's had just as much time to develop as some of these other guys. He hasn't remotely developed at all. You're not going to waste a practice squad spot for a third straight year on a 6th-round draft pick. I think he's gone, and I think Greg Ward's gone, guys. And Greg Ward, it's a shame because he's been injured for most of camp, so I think that's part of the reason. But, Mark, what are your thoughts on this wide receiver, the back end of the wide receiver group, which isn't important unless somebody gets injured, realistically speaking?
Yeah, and I agree. And I love Greg Ward, too. I mean, he filled in, that year with where all the wide receivers were down and Carson Wentz was thrown to him. He was his main target. But I mean, last year, like he was averaging like 5 yards a catch. I mean, and yeah, he could field punts and whatnot, but he doesn't really do anything. And you have these other guys that are coming through. You can turn over the back end of your wide receiver core and not be hurt. I loved Devon Allen yesterday. I mean, and it's not like he's never played football before. He played college football. He just needs to get back into it. I think he's a unique project that I would definitely find a way to keep on the roster. And Deon Cain is I mean, he had a really good game yesterday. So, who's to know that
Cain had 5 catches, 66 yards on 7 targets. I mean, the ball's thrown to him. He caught him. No doubt about it.
He could be the new Greg Ward.
Yeah, maybe he could be. I don't know. Look,
and then for
someone like Cain and Allen, they still need, and Covey, they all need development still to an extent. At least Covey brings you that special teams aspect. Those other guys are practice squads for development purposes to an extent. You got to do whatever you can to make sure those guys make the practice squad.
Yeah, and here's the other thing: if Rager's not on the team, who's going to return punts?
Yeah,
Gainwell maybe, but if he's playing, significant time at the running back position, you can't really have him out there. I don't know. Can Devon Allen field punts? Because I think he would be a fantastic punt returner.
I think Allen and Covey could be in that punt returning slots position. Look, I'm just going to say it now, and I'm going to remind everybody right now. This is not to some. This might be an overreaction statement. This is not an overreaction from me whatsoever. Unless Howie Roseman gets offered a 2nd-round pick, Jalen Reagor will be on this team, and he will be the number 5 wide receiver on this team. There's literally zero doubt in my mind. He is not going to accept the 4th or 5th-round pick for Jalen Reagor. He is going to get a 2nd-round pick, or Jalen Reagor will be on this team. Sorry, guys. Hate to break that news to you.
I don't know. I don't want the guy on the team. I haven't wanted him since.
Why? I mean, look. What are you going to get a guy with his upside? A guy that does have potential. He needs to change his scenery, no doubt about it. But on this team with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, he's literally going to be the 5th or 6th guy on this team. There's literally no pressure on him. He can come in and just, hope to make a play here. There's literally zero pressure on Reagor.
He's a 1st-round pick, and he's relegated
that is not his fault. Him being
to the 5th slot. I mean, come on, man.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault, but he thinks he's 1st-round talent, and he feels like he's not getting a chance.
You don't like my reasoning. The real reasoning is because if you just cut the guy, there's like a massive dead cap hit, and you lose money even if you trade him. So
Reagor on a rookie deal?
Yep, it's like $2.5 million in dead cap space if you cut him. It is. It's the way the rookie deals work out. Jason, how do you think this wide receiver room is going to play out here? The back end of it.
I mean, listen, we're talking about the back end. Mm-hmm. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
To me,
which is great. Hold on, let me just say, which is great because we used to talk about who was number 1 wide receiver.
No, I got that.
Which we get to now talk about who's 5.
I got that. I guess I don't buy into the hype as much on these guys like Devon Cain and Allen as much. I mean, does the name Travis Fulgham ring a bell? I mean, everyone fell in love with Travis Fulgham. Everyone fell in love with Travis Fulgham. And
I did not. I did not.
Okay, but the majority.
Yes,
okay.
I want to. You know what? I admit my mistakes, Jason. You know that. So when I get something right,
you want to brag.
I have to rub that in a little bit. I said it while he was still catching balls and doing well. I'm like, yo, this guy ain't all that. He's just the best of a bad group.
The reason I'm bringing up Travis Fulgham is
put that out there.
Like I said, I like Deon Cain. I like what Devon Allen's done in preseason. I like Britton Covey. They're all nice stories. But once again, it's the bottom of the receiving core. I agree with Phil. I think Reagor makes it just because of the fact that he's the 1st-round pick. And I also think we have to look at this from this perspective. If Reagor had been drafted in the 3rd or 4th round, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The only reason we are is because he was drafted in that high, with that high pick. As Phil said, it's not Rager's fault. And yes, you could sit here and say you don't like the guy or like what he's done, maybe, the whole social media, whatever you might have as far as your opinion of Jalen Reagor, I think we all agree he's not a first-round talent, but he's not a guy that's like totally inept to the point that he can't be anything. I think the problem is he hasn't had a chance to develop. He hasn't developed right because of the pressure. Mm-hmm. If he comes in here as the fifth wide receiver, there's absolutely zero pressure.
Yeah.
And I actually think that could turn the opposite effect to where he actually progresses instead of regressing. He might not, ever become this 700-yard wide receiver and, a guy that's going to catch 7 touchdowns a year, but he could be that fifth guy that you're able to plug in occasionally, and he hits a home run because he's got some speed and he has talent. It's not first-round talent.
All right, let's address one final thing. It seems like it's a recurring theme now, 2 preseason games. 2 times we have to talk about, I don't know if we could call it a diamond in the rough, but Cam Jurgens as the backup center. Again, dominating performance yesterday. Last week, he did it against the 1s of the Jets. This week against the 2s of the Browns. Actually, I don't know if any Brown starters played on defense yesterday. But Cam Jurgens, guys, do we worry about when Jason Kelce has to retire now? Like, it's literally going to be plug and play. Kelce, right to Cam Jurgens. I mean, they really found themselves quite the talented center right there in the second round. And, yeah, I mean, I literally look at it and just be like, this is an awesome feeling. I don't remember the last time in Philly sports as a whole that we had a legend still playing at a pretty high level and already had his replacement lined up where you have literally zero doubt that this guy could just plug and play when the legend decides to hang it up. Mark, thoughts on Cam Jurgens? Thoughts on my man Ross Tucker loving Cam Jurgens during the broadcast?
I thought he played very well. I mean, he was out in front. He was blocking. He was run blocking, pass blocking, steady with the ball. Here's something to throw out, though, Phil. What if Jason Kelce doesn't want to retire after this season?
No, it's a question.
Does it? I mean, what's another season with the guy on the bench? Or, now do you run into a problem where you got to make a really difficult decision with a Hall of Fame type player that it's not to re-sign him or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to cost at least $14 million next year because that's what he's making this year.
I don't think Jason Kelce will want to come back. I think he did this for a reason. He handpicked Jurgens knowing that he's retiring after this year.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I think there's an extent
totally off base.
I think there's an extent that Jason Kelce probably, while he's out right now injured, is thinking, maybe I didn't have to come back this year. Because, I mean, Big Ed's saying could be a starter on any other team. How often is a center ready to start day one? Very rarely in the NFL. Cam Jurgens looks like he's ready to start day one. Jason Kelce came back for a year to say, all right, let's give a little bridge to Cam Jurgens. He handpicked Cam Jurgens. He's probably sitting there thinking while he's rehabbing his elbow, like, hell, I don't have to come back. I can sit for the next 6 to 8 weeks and be good to go.
I wonder if it was all part of the master plan. You guys did say he was a handpicked. I mean, honestly, that surgery came out of the blue. I mean, I didn't know he was hurt to the extent that he was going to need surgery. Maybe they are going to slow roll it, and he's not going to play the first couple games of the year.
There's a chance. I don't want to make an overreaction joke statement and say, well, you would have to trade Jason Kelce, Mark, if that scenario that you brought up happened. But, I'll say it's overreaction Monday. Why not? Trade Jason Kelce if he wants to play another year.
I just don't think he does. I think he wants to spend time with his family. And I think if Jason Kelce, we already talked about it. He could do whatever he wants. He could run for mayor and he would get elected. He could probably run for president 10 years from now and get elected. Like, he's just that. He can do whatever he wants. I think Jason Kelce will be a coach someday. I really do. I believe that he has that.
Either that or a bartender.
He has a passion to help people. I mean, you've seen it not just with his interviews, but obviously we see all the the important speeches he's given. but he's a motivational speaker. He's a dream to anybody that's in that line of work. Like, he just has that tenacity and that grit to be able to, like, and he's done it on the field, so he backs it up with, like, what he's done. And like I said, the fact of the matter is that this had his hands all over it, getting Juergens, and it just makes so much sense. Like, this is his last year.
Would it be an insane overreaction, like completely out of left field overreaction Monday statement, for me to say Jason Kelce will not play a snap for the Philadelphia Eagles this year? I know it sounds crazy, but Juergens is ready. Kelce thought about retiring already.
Listen,
I don't think that would happen.
Let's pump the brakes, Phil. I know we're saying Juergens is ready, but I don't. It's preseason. Once again, like, I would like to see a little bit
Jason,
more.
it's Overreaction Monday. This is what we do on Overreaction.
I know, but I'm not going to let you overreact to that point.
Hey, I'm just thinking. Maybe this is all part of the plan.
I'm counter thinking.
Maybe Kelce says, all right, my elbow's not ready. I'm going to give it an extra 6 weeks. And then if Cam Juergens is playing really well in 6 weeks, he's like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to IR for the rest of the year. Cam, you got it.
It's easy to look at a preseason game and make an assumption that somebody's, like, the real deal. But, like, you need to see real games to really say that. Because let's face it, their starters weren't playing. Like, nobody's starters.
I'm leaving this comment up right here for a second. Mason, the Viking fan, thanks for checking in, man. I think it would be cool if Kelce snapped the last ball of the season. Yeah, the last ball of the season as we're taking a knee to win the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
February, right? That's an overreaction statement right there. And then he just walks off the field after that. All right.
What? I don't think it's an overreact. Never mind.
But listen, there are a lot of pundits out there that are high on the Eagles. I'm seeing a lot of people saying what my prediction was 11 wins. I saw a couple that were 12 wins.
I got 12.
Well, yeah, well, I won't
think
say
12 is very generous. I think 11 is totally doable.
But I think I've brought it up on this show enough time, guys, where timing is everything. We don't know what's going on with the Buccaneers. They've lost how many guys for the season already? Brady hasn't practiced in 2 weeks. There's a million rumors floating around about Tom Brady, things going on in his personal life and stuff like that. You got the Green Bay Packers. Who knows what's going on? Hey, LaFleur's is falling in love with Jordan Love right now from the reports out there. Is there going to be some controversy at some point there? You've got the Rams, and that's it. The Eagles could, if they get hot, if they play well, whatever. That 11-12 wins, it's not just that. It's they could get a home playoff game in the first round.
Oh, this place would go crazy if that happened.
Then after that, who knows what happens? This team is set up for a really good season right now. And I think all these things today, us talking about, we've talked about the second string, third string running back. We've talked about the 6th, 7th, and 8th wide receiver on the team, the backup center. This time last year, the conversation was totally different. Mm-hmm. We're talking about who's going to start at quarterback. We're talking about who's going to be the number 1 or 2 wide receiver. Things have totally changed in Philadelphia really, really quickly. Yeah, a minimum of 10 wins, but one of those coming against the Vikings. Yeah.
Stop it.
I don't understand. Mason, I don't know who you are. Hit me up on Twitter at Bearded Knowledge, man. I'd like to talk to you. I want to know why there's so much hype around the Vikings this year, because I don't understand it. As long as Kirk Cousins is the quarterback there, I can never buy hype around a Minnesota Vikings team.
I agree with you on that, Phil. They're just not. Hey, listen, they took Justin Jefferson away from us. We should have had him. But the last time I checked, we beat them pretty good in that NFC Championship game. And that's all that counts in my book.
Absolutely agree. All right, we got to move on. All right, we got to talk Phillies, okay? Overreaction Monday statement number 2. Hey, see if you're watching, mark this down. 34 minutes, 18 seconds. Overreaction Monday. Rob Thomson failed this team this weekend in our 3 out of 4 losses to the Mets. Am I overreacting, gentlemen?
He definitely caused the loss yesterday, if you ask me.
He caused the loss yesterday by the way he managed the game the day before as well.
I saw a tweet where they said that he went from being manager of the year to may not come back next year in the span of a weekend 4-game series.
Let's break it down. We went 1-3 this weekend against the Mets. I'm pretty sure somebody on Team DSM said that the Mets were going to get swept by the Phillies. Jason, do you remember who said that? I don't remember who said that, Jason. Somebody said the Phillies were going to sweep the Mets. I think his name was Mark. I don't know. I don't know if he's got Mark with a C or Mark. I think he should get Mark with a K for saying that.
Wait, listen. Let me tell you my reason. We were riding high. Mm-hmm. Now you got the Mets that are coming into town. They are the cream of the crop of the National League. And I really thought they were going to – listen, they might not have swept, but I thought they were going to win the series. They were going to look really good, and they were going to catch a couple games on the Mets and let the rest of the league know that they're for real, and they took a huge step backwards.
And this is why, look, Rob Thomson had to get this team the spark. Rob Thomson was what, like 15-2, something 14-2 when he started. You take that out of the equation, he's like 5 games over 500 in a very easy stretch of schedule. A lot of our tough schedule was earlier in the season. So he's barely better than 500 outside that initial spark that the hiring of new management happened. They came up small this weekend. He made mistakes. He showed his lack of experience as a manager this weekend. Bullpen management, lineup construction, everything up and down the board. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola came up as small as they could in big moments. Who would have thought Bradley Falter, of all guys, would have been the best pitcher this weekend? You knew Sir Anthony Dominguez was hurt and couldn't be used on Saturday. So instead of using Robertson in the 9th and somebody else in the 8th, you throw him for 2 innings. And then you decide to throw him out there again last night. Now it came out that Robertson said he wanted the ball and he was fine and ready to go. But Rob Thomson, I know there's a lot of people out there that think Rob Thompson's done enough. A couple of them called me out on Twitter about it yesterday when I said this. He has not done anywhere near enough to guarantee that spot as the manager of this team into the future, in my opinion. And it's why I went back in the very beginning. And right when he was promoted to interim, I said, we should have been looking for a full-time replacement right from the get-go. I know it doesn't happen in baseball. They leave the interim in there for the rest of the year, whatever. But I would have been looking right from the get-go. The guy's been in baseball for 25, 30 years as a manager and never been in the big chair for a reason. I just don't think he's good enough to manage a playoff run. Now, we're going to come out. We've got some easy games coming up this week and next week. We're going to win a lot of games. But when crunch time comes to it, when we play the Mets, when we play the Braves, he's just not good enough to be the manager of a playoff team. Jason.
Well, once again, I have to disagree with you.
I know you disagree with me on this.
Because you're anti-Rob Thomson. You've been for a while. And so it comes out in the way that you describe things. Listen, I think I'm always in the middle when it comes to this stuff. Does Rob Thomson deserve to get some blame? Absolutely. But Rob Thomson didn't lose this series. The Phillies players lost this series. The Phillies pitching, their so-called 2 aces, lost this series. They're hitting that shit the bed the entire series except yesterday, lost this series. Okay? Rob Thomson, yes, he's made a lot of mistakes lately. But Rob Thompson's done a tremendous job getting this team even to position where they're at to make the playoffs. If it weren't for Rob Thomson, the Phillies wouldn't be here right now. Okay? And, oh, by the way, you lose Dominguez and Knebel yesterday. So that news comes down. So, yes, I get it that you shouldn't have used Robertson the day before, but if Robertson did want to pitch, hey, kudos to him. I give him credit for wanting to come out because they really didn't have anybody else. Who would they have thrown in the 9th?
Coonrod. Wasn't Coonrod available?
But, Jason, here's the thing, Jason. Kudos to Robertson. So there's 2 ways you can answer that. One, you could say, but that's on Rob Thomson to say no. Even though you want to pitch, you threw close to 40 pitches the day before. No, you can't pitch today. Or B, he knew Dominguez was not available on Saturday. There was no reason to throw Robertson for 2 innings on Saturday, knowing there was a good chance you wouldn't have Sir Anthony Dominguez Saturday or Sunday. his management of the bullpen there was a little.
He wanted to get a win. They lost 2 games. They hadn't had a win yet.
Yeah, I
They
know.
needed to win. You have to win now.
But you got to manage the whole series.
Phil,
You got to manage the whole series.
I disagree with you. Look, it takes a lot to manage a baseball team.
That's why none of us are doing it.
Have you ever managed a baseball team? No. So you can't sit there and say, "Well, he should have did this in this situation."
I could.
I know you can.
And I am. And I am saying it.
Okay, well, I disagree. You
Mark,
cannot.
you get in.
Wait. How about this? How about we just say that the Mets are a better team than the Phillies, and they're in a different class. They're better than the Phillies.
Absolutely.
And maybe
no
give
overreaction.
the Mets some credit.
No overreaction.
How about that?
There's no overreaction there whatsoever. That is 100% the case. Mark, get in on this manager conversation.
Jason, your face is beat red, buddy.
This is the off when people want to just blame the manager. Like,
well, hold on. Mark, hold on. Before you, let me say something. We take the blame off the manager when we want to, but we also put the blame on the manager when we want to. It happens on every team.
I said he deserves some credit for blame, but not all the blame.
Big Ed, come on, man.
Big Ed hates everybody. Don't take his vote.
Thank you, Ed.
All right. Here's where I was scratching my head. All right, they brought in Robertson. I was like, boy, dude, he pitched 2 innings, threw like 36 pitches. He got the first 2 guys got on base. He gives up that mammoth home run. Shit. Right? Was it or he gave up 1 home run? Did he give up? He gave up a 3-run homer, right?
Yeah, kind of gave up a 3-run home run. Yeah.
All right. Then he comes back and strikes out back-to-back batters. So he's got his and then he took him out for this new kid who just I don't know why he didn't just stick with him for the rest of the inning. And that kid gave up another home run, and it just put us back that much further. And that's what like really, really frustrated me. You got to understand too that Thomson, most of his managerial career right now has been without Segura and without Harper, and he's been phenomenal. I think he's been phenomenal. Dude, you're shaking your head, Phil. Like Harper is on his way to a back-to-back MVP season.
You all just said
you took him out of the equation, and they're still winning games. Dude,
you just all said how big of a weekend this was going to be against.
It was a big weekend, but
they came up short, and not just came up short. They came up flat, and they came out unenthused, unenergetic. I watched a lot of baseball this weekend, amongst golf and amongst football, and their heads were down the entire time. The emotion wasn't there. They just seemed like they looked like they had given up and knew they were losing the series before the series started, and that's something a manager could do. Lose that emotion.
But the Mets are really good, though.
I think what the Phillies are lacking is that leader in the clubhouse. We still don't have the leader. We have Bryce Harper even said it. He's the leader by example, but he's not the vocal leader. Everyone told me it's Kyle Schwarber. It's Kyle Schwarber. No, it isn't. If it was, you would see more. They don't have that vocal leader. The manager can only lead so much. Good baseball teams have leaders in the locker room. We talked about it, Phil.
Yeah.
That 93 Phillies team. You go down the line of teams that have had those people that get people refocused on what the task is. Listen, I agree. Rob Thomson failed this weekend. I agree, okay? But Mark is right. What he's done without Bryce Harper, Gene Segura, you're losing all these pitchers left and right. You lost Zach Eflin. I think it's been an amazing thing that he's done. And does he deserve the job next year? Let's see. If they make the playoffs, maybe. But let's get to that point first. I'm not worried about talking about next year. I want to talk about why is this team not hit with runners in scoring position? I thought we had a hitting coach that we brought in that was supposedly this elite guy that fixes things. Well, where is the Phillies hitting with runners in scoring position went? In the freaking toilet. Every time they have a man on base, they strike out.
They left a lot of guys on base the last 2 series. Jason. I do agree there. And
That's the coach. That's not the manager. That's the hitting coach. Coaches are important too, Phil. If you want to blame them, then blame the coach. Blame some of the coaches. Why are they failing?
I want to blame guys. I want to blame Aaron Nola and
so shitty with runners in scoring position. Is that on Rob Thomson? Is that Rob Thompson's fault?
Well,
tell me right now that
relax,
it's Rob Thompson's fault.
Woosah.
I want to know. I want you to tell me.
I'm going to answer if you would stop shouting. I will answer your question.
Okay.
The direction of the team starts at the top. What the hitting coach is doing. The hitting coach is always the first person to get fired. Didn't we fire our hitting coach this year? Aren't we on our second one already? The hitting coach always gets fired and blamed. But the direction that the team takes starts at the top. So whatever it's the hitting coach answers to the head coach or the manager or whatever you call it. Look, we're going to disagree on this manager thing. And I agree with you. We make the playoffs, maybe he deserves a shot. Maybe we make the World Series or make a deep run, maybe he deserves a shot. All I'm trying to say is there's a lot of people out there that think Rob Thomson already deserves to have the interim tag removed. And I'm just saying he hasn't done enough to deserve that. But let's stop. We're not going to agree on that. Can we talk about Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler also coming up small in a huge moment this weekend? I mean, they both pitched poorly this weekend, right, Mark?
You can't have your ones and twos do that, especially when they've been pitching well all year. But to Jason's point, like the Mets are the best team in baseball, or the best team in the National League, and you're resigning the fact that they're
past the Yankees in importance right now in this league.
They're better than us. I think it was a recipe for disaster all weekend. You played flat. You allowed the Mets fans to invade the stadium once again. You even had a Met social influencer throw out the first pitch.
I forgot all about that.
How did that happen?
Was absolutely the worst thing in the freaking world. So for anybody that doesn't know, the Phillies ran some contest. Whoever sells the most tickets or the first to sell 500 tickets, gets to throw out the first pitch. And it happened to be a Mets social media influencer who leads like the biggest like Mets fan page there is. And they had him throwing the first pitch out this weekend. What the hell is wrong with the Phillies organization? So you don't want to blame Rob Thomson. Let's just blame the top. Let's just start with John Middleton and just blame everybody for the atrocity this weekend. Because if you throw that Mets guy out there for the first pitch, damn straight, there's some bad mojo going on in that whole entire stadium that weekend.
It's actually a great point because that's the sales department trying to sell tickets. Yeah. Like, where is their situational awareness that even in bad seasons, a lot of New Yorkers come to see the Phillies in Philadelphia or see the Mets in Philadelphia? Why would you run a contest like that you're going to throw out the first pitch at the Mets series? Like your probability of having somebody wearing that orange and blue is pretty high. It's pretty high.
It would be like the Eagles having Jimmy Johnson come out in the link for like a celebrity coin toss before an Eagles-Cowboys game. Like, you just wouldn't do that. And if the Mets won that contest, I would have said, sorry, we had a change in plans. We have to get somebody. Like, I would have come up with some bullshit excuse, and I would not have let them do it. Like, you literally set the tone for the weekend at the very beginning by letting a Met fan, not just a Met fan, a super fan that I don't know if you guys saw some of the things he's tweeted and said about the Phillies fans and the organization over the years. This guy's he says some awful things. He's a troll of all trolls.
This was such a fucked up weekend, Phil. I was expecting to hear those trumpets when Edwin Diaz was coming out to save the game last night.
Honestly, it wouldn't have been out of left field.
By the way, I love that song, by the way. I absolutely love it. But
it's that wild thing from Major League Baseball kind of vibes when he comes out. Jason, so if you don't want to blame Rob Thomson, can we blame the top down? We can blame everybody. The manager, the owner, the players. This whole weekend, everybody could be blamed for doing something stupid that screwed up this weekend.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a debacle. I was actually talking – I mean, Aaron in fun was saying we should be happy about it, and obviously Aaron's a Mets fan. But another Mets fan actually – I sent him that that the tweet about showing, it was from the Painted Lines or wherever had the article, Crossing Broad.
Crossing Broad, yeah. Our friends
I
over
sent
at
that, and the guy was like, "Man, that's disgusting. Like, how would you allow that? Like, and first of all, like, listen, we're all fans. Like, you're gonna have fun with it. I mean, we have fun with Aaron. Aaron has fun with us. But like, I don't cross the line to that point where you're like calling these fans like what he called them, and then you have that guy throw the first pitch. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I agree. When I saw that, I was like appalled. I was actually, it was mind-boggling to me that would be allowed at a Phillies game. But yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. My whole thing is I'm just concerned that I hope Aaron Nola is not having early September and starting it early in August, because we don't need that at this point. Because yes, it was. See, to me, the Mets right now are in a class of their own. As I said, the Mets are up here. I really believe. I think the Mets are a team of destiny. I know the Dodgers have a better record, but I think the Mets are going to win the World. I just have a weird feeling about the Mets. I just think they did everything right this year.
I think you said that like in the beginning of the season.
I did. I called it. And I got ridiculed for it by Phillies fans. But I look at this Mets team. They do everything good that the Phillies do bad. Mm-hmm. They hit with runners in scoring position. Their big starters do come through in big games. Like, they do everything right. And it's funny because everyone just looks at the Mets and say, oh, they have good pitching. Mm-hmm. The Mets are fourth in the league in runs scored and average, which to me are two important stats that get overlooked in a league, in a world where OPS is just blown up and like everyone's OPS. The Mets have scored the fourth amount of runs in the Major League Baseball. So there's a reason why they're winning games. It's not just their pitching. They score runs. And they score timely runs. And they showed it yesterday, especially when they've come back. I think they are first in the league in comeback wins. I think they have 26 comeback wins. And I think 5 of them are against the Phillies. 5 comeback wins. By big runs. Didn't they lose a game 9-0? We were up 9-0 against them early in the year.
I know. It was the Jesus Familia game. We were up like 7 or 8-1, and Familia came in and gave up like 7 runs in the ninth inning.
I mean, listen, Phil, I agree. I know it. We obviously disagree with the manager, but listen.
Well, so here's a big thing, Jason. And yes, I'm not trying to like overreaction. Me says one thing, but realistic me says Rob Thomson's done some good, but he's also done some bad. Today starts the great thing about baseball. There's always tomorrow. We start. I got their schedule up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't play a playoff team again till August 12th. Oh, sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong week. 1, 2. That's wrong. We don't play a playoff team till September 16th. 2 weeks plus. We got Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Zona, San Fran, Miami, Washington, Miami. We don't play Atlanta till September 16th. Rob Thomson, if he wants to prove his doubters wrong, needs to go on a massive stretch. There's 22 games till we face Atlanta. We need to win 16 of them. We need to come out today against Cincinnati and be like, yo, we're going to forget that. We're supposed to win today. We're going to win today. That's the role a manager plays. Getting a team ready, but also getting them over tough stretches. And we need to see him come out and get this team ready to roll today.
I agree with you. I see a comment from Mason, the Vikings fan. I think this is underrated because this is something that actually no team realistically other than the Phillies have at their luxury. Everyone made the trade deadline, and that's usually like an infusion of like energy and emotion. The Phillies have an opportunity now getting Bryce Harper back in September to light another fire. So actually, that could be a great thing for the Phillies. Like,
I agree. The spark that comes from
struggled against the Mets. Now we can turn it around, play the bad teams again, and start taking care of business, winning series. Then you get Bryce Harper back in a week. I mean, Bryce Harper is one of those guys, like we've talked about it, like he can carry a team on his back. Will he be locked in at the plate? It's hard to say because he's been out for what? is it going on 8 weeks now?
It's been a while now.
I can't remember how many weeks it's been, but
I mean, he's a Hall of Fame type player. He's going to come in as long as that hand doesn't hurt him and that elbow doesn't hurt him. He's going to come in and mash again. And those guys that have been left on base the past couple series, he's going to knock some of those guys in. He's going to change the trajectory of these games. And Phil, maybe they do go 16-6 in the next 22.
Is that really hard to imagine?
Well, I think they got to win every series. I think they have to win every series, and if they do, I mean,
just
you're starting to go into like your pennant race really hot and going into the playoffs really hot, which is what you want.
I think there's something to be said. If you're going to make the wild card, I think at this point, I'd like to make it as the last wild card, because if you make it as the second, you're going to have to face the Braves in the first round. And I don't want to face I'd rather face either of the other two teams. If you look at the way that the seasons went and how we play the Braves as opposed to those other teams, listen, the Padres are reeling. Josh Hader has been taken out of the closer role. They traded for Josh Hader, and he's been taken out of the closer role. Milwaukee traded Josh Hader. They inserted the new guy. He's been taken out of the closer role. How whacked is that? Like, that's crazy to me. And, the Cardinals, they've kind of been, struggling a little bit too. Like, I think if you're going to face anybody, I don't want to face the Braves. I think the Braves.
Yeah. We covered it. I just don't know, I don't even want to worry about who we're facing. Like before the Mets series,
get there. I think if you
get there at this point now,
if you get there, I think all bets are off. Whether it's the Braves or any other team that you're going to play, all bets are off. I really believe that. And you basically everybody's record is 0-0.
Yeah.
I'd love for them to be home for their series. I don't think that's going to happen, but listen, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You got to get there, though. You got to figure out how to get there first.
I will say that there's a lot of reports that Wednesday is going to start the rehab assignment for Bryce Harper. And I really think that a lot of people are talking about September 2nd, the series in San Fran is when Bryce Harper will be back. But I think he travels to Arizona with us next Monday. And either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday in that Arizona series, you might see Bryce. He'll get his rehab starts later this week, and then he will travel with the team, maybe get a little bit more work in maybe on Monday or Tuesday. But I guarantee you, by the end of that Arizona series, if not the September 2nd start to the Giants, actually that game's on Apple TV, another Apple TV game.
Apple TV?
Could you imagine Apple actually probably called the Phillies, be like, yo, hold out Bryce Harper's return for the game on Apple TV.
That would be.
Everybody wants to see Bryce Harper's return, and everybody see overreaction Monday statement. It's not an overreaction. All those big companies are in bed with these teams.
It's another conspiracy.
It's conspiracy right there. Apple is going to pay the Phillies some under the table hush money to make Bryce Harper return on Apple TV. So more idiots like me are like, God damn it, I hate Apple TV. I'm not paying for it, but I have to see Bryce Harper's return.
That would be disastrous. I don't have Apple TV.
Big Ed's going to have to worry about what he's going to do.
Big Ed has a hard time navigating Apple TV. What's the other station that they're on sometimes? The
Peacock.
The Peacock. Like it's. I got to help him figure out how to sign in and all that stuff.
Let me
can't go on any more streaming services. I can't do it anymore.
Peacock real quick. All right. So yesterday, the Eagles preseason game was on NBC 10. That was also the channel, the BMW Championship final round, second leg of the playoffs for the PGA Tour. Heavily invested down for me with the golf podcast and stuff like that. So because locally the Eagles were on TV, the golf got bumped to Peacock, but not on the free version of Peacock. So like I went through the whole process. I created a Peacock account, thinking it'd be on the free Peacock version, but no, they wanted $5.99 a month for me to sign up for Peacock to watch the final round of the freaking BMW Championship, which I didn't. I chose not to. I just followed along on my phone and waited till the Eagles game was over. But man, You think that in Philly, you just like, hey, let's just throw it for the people, on the free version. No, they want money. I'm sick and tired of all these streaming sites. Sick and tired of it. Yeah, shades of Vinnie Mac. And we never got into that conversation there, me and you, Mark. Him being retired and stuff. But I think that is all the time we have for today. Someone did say on my Twitter page, guys, that Overreaction Monday should be that Philadelphia is the headquarters of soccer now, because the Philadelphia Union won again this weekend, 6-0. And I guess there's some stuff with Messi and Chelsea and all this. I don't know what's going on with all that. But someone was saying on Twitter that Philadelphia is now the sporting headquarters for soccer. That would be an overreaction statement because obviously it's not. But the Philadelphia Union, we can't forget about how damn good they are, and they're still in first place. They might be going wire to wire first place in MLS this year. They are going to be the favorite to win the MLS Cup at the end of the year. So shout out to our Union fans.
I can't wait for that parade down Broad Street
in his glory.
Yeah. Parade down. What's the main street in Chester there? The parade will just go down the street in Chester, and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'll be the first there to go see.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I love soccer. I'll sit and watch it. I'm not invested in it like some of these hardcore guys are. And, if they are, I kind of follow them from afar. And, yeah, dude, they're doing really well. I don't know much.
All I know is there's a lot of controversy going on with the
crowd, and each game ends 1-0. So,
Mark,
all right, we're gonna wrap up trending the
back,
AM,
brother.
Yeah, Mark, great to have you back, buddy.
Pending what I plan to do.
Oh, now we're starting.
I might be on for the rest of the week. We'll see. I'll keep you posted.
All right, trending the AM right here on DSM Media. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop comments. Even in the comments after the show and when you're watching on replay, it all helps the algorithm. It all helps us build and continue to grow this morning show. Lots of great fun today. I am Phil Stuffy, your host. I had Jason Voorhees with me and Mr. Mark Moscatelli. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow with more trending the AM. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.
And Philadelphia has it.
Holding.
Gets around in front. Goal!
Oh, it's got to head to it.